You're watching Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as NFL free agency continues. It is day number 5, and what a week it's been for your Baltimore Ravens. Here on today's show, we'll catch you up to speed on the latest roster moves that the Ravens have made to this point. We'll go over the players that are still available and those that have gone to other teams as well. Catch you up to speed with everything you need to know on free agency for your Baltimore Ravens coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, if you want the Ravens to make another signing, make sure to like today's video. Do your part. Let your voice be heard. Let's make our voices loud and clear to Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh that we're not done yet, that we want to see this team add some more pieces. Like the video, do your part, and we'll get started with today's show. So let's go through the latest signings. Josh Johnson is back in Baltimore, re-signing on a one-year deal, and still waiting on the contract details of what they exactly look like. But it sounds like Tyler Huntley is probably gone. You do have Malik Cunningham, who was a UDFA out of Louisville, originally with the New England Patriots, and then joined the Baltimore Ravens late in the year last year on the roster, although there's a possibility Cunningham could play wide receiver as he did take some reps at that position when he was with the New England Patriots. But at least with Josh Johnson goes, this is somebody that has been a journeyman in the National Football League for a very long time now. He's had multiple stints with the Baltimore Ravens, and he looked really good in the preseason for Baltimore. Very comfortable in Todd Monken's offense. It's no secret Todd Monken wasn't a big fan of Tyler Huntley. This might end up being your new QB2 of sorts. This might be the route that the Baltimore Ravens go of handing the keys to Josh Johnson to back up Lamar Jackson potentially here. Now, I'm not saying for certain it's going to be this way, that the Ravens do this, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility that Johnson gets that promotion to be the next guy behind Lamar Jackson as far as that goes. Some other sightings for the Baltimore Ravens. Brent Urban is back on a very reasonable deal for the Baltimore Ravens, a one-year, $1.38 million deal. And I got to tell you, we talked about last week with Justin Madubuike getting his big payday, and now we look at this Ravens defensive line, and this is solidified. This is an outstanding group. It looks like one of the best defensive lines in all of football at this point. I really like what they're doing with this defensive line, the anchor of this defense. Even with losing Mike McDonald as your defensive coordinator, I think Zach Orr has some tools to work with that it's going to start up front, you win in the trenches, and then everything else goes from there. Adarius Washington is back with the Baltimore Ravens, and what I wonder is what type of potential role the Ravens have in mind for Adarius Washington. Honestly, I don't think he's a bad option for the nickel position, potentially. The Ravens have some moving parts and pieces. They're still trying to figure out what exactly they want to do at the corner spot, but I look at Washington as a guy that could be a natural fit at that spot if they so choose. So those are the latest signings so far. In a moment, we'll talk about guys that have signed elsewhere, who remain still available, and catch you up on everything else with the Baltimore Ravens here. But first, what do you think of what the Baltimore Ravens have done throughout free agency so far? Give me a grade in the comment section. It's our pinned comment today, A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know in the comment section below. We have new merch on sale now. Derrick Henry, he's a Raven, a Baltimore Raven, and I got good news for the folks out there. We are selling his gear at chatsports.com/KingHenry is where you can get this for yourself, whether you want a jersey or a shirtsy, male or female. We got it all covered for you, folks. Plenty of different options for you to choose from for yourself. And I'm going to sweeten the pot a little bit more for you, folks. Not only do we have this Derrick Henry gear on sale now, but also we're offering free shipping as well on all of the Derrick Henry merchandise. And over the next few days, there's going to be more stuff added as well. So go see for yourself, chatsports.com/KingHenry. Rock out with your flock out and represent Derrick Henry. While supplies last. These things are going to be hot, folks, so you want to jump on this now and get some for yourself. Chatsports.com/KingHenry to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. So here's players that have signed elsewhere. Gus Edwards is going from one Harbaugh to another, joining Jim Harbaugh with the LA Chargers on a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. With Derrick Henry coming in, it didn't really make sense to bring Gus Edwards back because Derrick Henry will do the job that Gus Edwards did previously. Geno Stone goes to the Cincinnati Bengals on a 2-year, $15 million deal. As much as I like Geno Stone, he was never a priority for the Baltimore Ravens in the safety room. Devin Duvernay goes to the Jags, as does Ronald Darby. 2 years, $8.5 million. The big thing for the Baltimore Ravens when it comes to replacing Devin Duvernay will be what they do in special teams. But if you recall, when there was an injury to him last year, Tyler Wallace stepped up and had that walk-off punt return touchdown in overtime against the LA Rams. So I think they're going to be fine. Ronald Darby, 2 years, $10 million to the Jags. I think Darby is replaceable. Not a bad football player, but I don't think that's the end of the world to lose him. And then others. Tyler Ott at the long snapper spot. He's going to Washington. Long snapper position, obviously replaceable. John Simpson going to the Jets, 2 years, $18 million. Remains to be seen what Baltimore plans to do at the offensive guard spot. Some holes to fill on the offensive line there. Delshon Phillips with a 1-year deal. And then there's Patrick Queen going to the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 3-year, $41 million deal. Now, let's talk about Patrick Queen leaving for a moment here, folks. I got to say, I know we all anticipated Patrick Queen leaving. It's not a surprise that he left, but it's a surprise of where he ended up with. It is going to be brutal to see him in another uniform in the division. The Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams, right? That's going to hurt. That sucks, if I'm going to be honest with you. I like Patrick Queen, and it was a good run for him in Baltimore the last couple of years. But playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, having a significant role in that Steelers defense here, playing him twice a year, that sucks. Because I got a feeling that things are going to go pretty well for Patrick Queen, that he's going to be a natural fit for that Steeler defense and do a really good job there. So facing him twice a year, I am not too excited about, personally speaking. But you know what? We still wish him well. Just unfortunate that the jersey he's putting on happens to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you think it's a big loss? Time for Trenton Simpson to step up. We were preparing for him to leave. But to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, is that a big deal? Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no way in the comment section. Tell me what you think. We are your Ravens free agency headquarters. Anytime they make a signing, we are going to talk about it and cover it here on the channel. And getting very close to 16,000 subs here on Ravens Rundown. Less than 200 away. Lock us in. Stay up to date with the latest happenings on your favorite team all off-season long. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/RavensTV. Here are the players that remain unsigned for the Baltimore Ravens at this point. OBJ, Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, currently available right now. Seems like OBJ's unlikely to return to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore kind of shopping the trade market for receivers right now. Clowney and Van Noy. Clowney's taken a couple visits with some different teams. We'll see. Van Noy seems more likely to come back than Clowney does. J.K. Dobbins and Melvin Gordon, those guys aren't coming back. Same with Dalvin Cook after one of the shortest stints for a player of his caliber we've seen in a long time. Kevon Zeitler probably not coming back as well. Laquon Treadwell probably not back. Kevon Seymour, Rock Ya-Sin, probably not back. Arthur Maulet, we'll see. Trayvon Mullen, kind of up in the air on that. Sam Mustipher, I would probably say no. Daryl Worley, we'll see. Tyler Huntley, I don't think is coming back at this point. The priority for the Baltimore Ravens, two players I think in particular, it's Clowney and Van Noy as the names to watch. As not only both players looked really good as veterans last year, but they're relatively cheap for their position. Remember, Kyle Van Noy last year played for the league minimum, just made over $1 million. Clowney made in the range of $7 to $8 million. So even with the lack thereof of cap space from the Baltimore Ravens, if they want to, they can still afford to bring one or both of these guys back potentially and play a significant role in this Ravens defense. So those are the names I'm watching for of who's left at this point in time. Who's the player you think the Ravens should re-sign? That's a long list of guys still looking for a home. Weigh in the comment section. Give me a name that you think the Baltimore Ravens should bring back. So to recap what the Ravens have done so far at this point, they started with Matt BK, getting him the franchise tag, then getting the long-term deal done. 4 years, $98 million. Malik Harrison, 1 year, still waiting on details there. Derrick Henry, 2 years, $16 million. Brent Urban, and then the others that we talked about at that point on. Now, I'll say this. Even with losing Patrick Queen, with what the Ravens have done at this point, I think they're a better football team today than they were at the beginning of this offseason. It was a challenge that was ahead of Eric DeCosta, but now, as I told you on yesterday's show, and will continue to reiterate, I think, throughout the rest of the offseason, this is about the Baltimore Ravens trying to chase down the Kansas City Chiefs and trying to put themselves in position to take down the Kansas City Chiefs and win the AFC. I think as they make more potential moves, we talked about the idea of Deebo Samuel or going to get a big-time receiver. You ask yourself, all right, how do we stack up with Kansas City? Kansas City got better yesterday, adding our old friend Marquise Brown to their receiving corps. So we'll see. But right now they're a better team than they were, but there's still more work to do. Who's your favorite signing from the Ravens so far of what they've done to this point? Weigh in the comment section. Tell me who you think that is. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Ravens Rundown. You enjoyed today's show? You want more signings? Like the video. We certainly appreciate it. We'll see you next time.